Hey guys, welcome to the SimRacingPaddock. I'm William Marsh, and this is Assetto Corsa Competizione. ACC is the eagerly awaited follow-up to Kunos Simulazioni's Assetto Corsa and is the official title of the Blancpain GT series. I was provided with an early preview copy of the sim from Kunos and 505 Games so I could provide you with my first impressions right when the sim comes out. The initial release of Assetto Corsa Competizione provides you with one car and one track, allowing you to drive the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 race car around the Nurburgring GT layout. This release is right in time to coincide with the 24 hours of Nurburgring race coming up this weekend. As the early access period progresses, there will be one major release a month, adding new features, cars, and tracks to the sim until the full game releases in Q1 2019, featuring the full car and track roster of the Blancpain GT series. In the first release of the early access, you will be able to run in practice, quick race, and special events. You will have free reign to set time of day and weather, so if you choose, you could do a race in the middle of the night in the rain. Right now, you can set time of day and static weather conditions. In the future, you can set the race to dynamic conditions. I'm hoping that in the future you could maybe set the weather to follow a script like how Project Cars 2 and R-Factor 2 can. It would be cool to see a race start off in the rain and then have the track dry off as the race progresses. Now let's tackle the big question: how does Assetto Corsa Competizione drive? Well, to put it simply, very well. One fear many sim racers had when it was announced that ACC would be going to Unreal Engine 4 was that they thought the physics would be dumbed down. From my first couple hours of driving, it honestly feels like the exact opposite has happened. The cars now feel like they have a better sense of weight to them, which is something I felt was somewhat missing in Assetto Corsa. The physics feel a little more believable, but at the same time it is legitimately more challenging. If you're not careful, you will find yourself spinning out a lot due to driver error. One thing I really like though about ACC so far is the fact that there are a few presets in the garage for you to choose from. You can go with a more conservative setup, which will be a little slower but more stable to drive, or go for the quicker but more risky setup. I've tended to gravitate towards the faster setup, but it's a definite challenge. It will keep you on edge, and you will need to be very smooth and very precise in your driver inputs, or you will find yourself facing the wrong way. One thing I do want to see fleshed out though is the force feedback settings. As of right now, there are two settings in ACC: gain and minimum force. While the force feedback in Assetto Corsa Competizione is quite solid, I would like to see the option to tweak and fine-tune options to fit personal preferences. Driving in the rain in Assetto Corsa Competizione is a very different kind of beast. The first time I tried it, I immediately looped the car right around and slammed into the wall. After that, I realized I accidentally had slicks mounted on my car, so I swapped over to the rain preset in the garage, and the car was a lot more controllable. However, I will say that the rain in ACC is one of the most challenging experiences I have had in all of sim racing. You will need to be very careful driving on the track, as it's not just reduced grip. You will need to try to keep away from puddles, or else you'll aquaplane and spin out. Visually, Assetto Corsa Competizione is a bit of a mixed bag. With the move to Unreal Engine 4, Kunos took on a tall task, and their assets have transitioned over very smoothly for the most part. There are still some of the Unreal Engine quirks that plague a lot of titles, and ACC is no exception. The main complaint I would have with the visual experience so far is the sim's draw distance. Unreal Engine tends to not have the best draw distance, so you will notice some sorts of pop-in. You will notice this at times in ACC, particularly in regards to trees and buildings in the distance. It doesn't really interfere with your driving, however it is noticeable. This will also lead to pop-in in detail of opponents' cars, such as headlights. The draw distance and visual detail is also fairly poor in the rearview mirror, which can result in some shimmering in cars and details in the rear mirror. If you can look past those minor gripes though, you get, for the most part, a visually solid title. It is a decent step forward compared to Assetto Corsa, and then adding in rain and night, and you can get a great experience. Driving through sparks kicked up by a lightning car is a sight to behold, and I love it. Hopefully the graphics will be refined in coming releases, but it seems off to a good start. Sounds also seem like a decent improvement as well. Assetto Corsa Competizione is still using the Fmod sound engine that was used in a previous title, but it seems to be refined and enhanced, allowing for more depth in the sound, and it shows. The Lamborghini sounds a little better in my opinion, a little more raw, and then add in the details of going over curbs, racing against other cars, and even scraping the undercarriage adds to the depth in a way that really increases the immersion. For as early as it is, it seems like the AI is surprisingly competent in ACC. They will put up a legitimate fight against both you and other cars, and will even make authentic mistakes. It's a solid step forward from Assetto Corsa's AI, which could be fairly hit or miss. There is still room for improvement though. There are a couple situations where it seemed like the opponents didn't know where my car was, and they would either run me wide or spin me out. But I will say that AI is off to a good start as well. The last thing I want to touch on is the menu and settings. The menu is, in my opinion, miles better than what we have in Assetto Corsa. Now, you can actually navigate the menus with a wheel or a controller, which is a bit of a relief. Sometimes it can be a little tricky finding the advanced settings in the menu though, but so far I'm pleased with what they've done. There are a few other things I want to touch on before wrapping up this video though. As of the first release, there are no options available to turn off head shake. You are able to adjust your field of view via the pause menu though. In the initial release, there is no support for virtual reality. That will come next month. There is support for triple screens though. The maximum length you can set a race in the first release is a half hour. Support for longer races will be added in the December update. Pit stops will also be added to ACC in a future update planned for next month. As of right now, it appears the damage engine in Assetto Corsa Competizione is non-functional. There is no word right now when that is going to be added to the sim. There is a new helmet camera added to ACC, which will add a little more immersion, and also that has some head movement as well, and I've not found a way to remove that yet. So, my initial thoughts on Assetto Corsa Competizione are fairly positive. It seems like Kunos has done a successful job transitioning over to Unreal Engine 4 and maintaining solid simulation-grade physics. In this initial release, the content is fairly light, but it seems like it is fairly solid. I am definitely excited to see what is coming in the future months, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun in the meantime. Now, I would love to hear your thoughts. Are you going to try out the first release of Assetto Corsa Competizione, or are you gonna wait for a later build? Let us know in the comments. Also, if you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe so you can help keep us on track. For the Sim Racing Paddock, I'm William Marsh, and you have a good one.